willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. A very good morning to one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Bala Koteswari, ma'am, Principal, Sanksrithi School of Business, Puttaparthi, Andhra Pradesh, as the resource person for this session. Dr. Bala Koteswari, gold medalist in industrial psychology, and completed her PhD from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. She was awarded gold medal for doctoral colloquium on management reforms by Association of Indian Management Schools in 2021 and silver medal B School Faculty Innovation Award for innovative teaching methodology framework. She has published various books, research papers in various reputed journals and presented papers at national and international levels. She has been resource person for various expert lectures, FDPs, symposiums, seminars, and conferences. She is the editor for journals, and she is also associated with National Commission for Women, Government of India in building legal awareness among young students. She is a vice chairperson, Andhra Pradesh chapter Association of Indian Management Schools. She has 16 years of rich research, teaching, industry, and administrative experience. She is guiding PhD students in psychology, education, and management disciplines. She has been doctoral committee member for Reva and Garden City University. She is also PhD evaluation board member of CMR, VTU, Annamalai, and Jain University. Now I request Dr. Bala Koteshwari ma'am to take over the session.
Offering my humble salutations at the lotus feet of the Divine Master, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba, revered authorities from Kristu Jayanti, very respected faculty members, a very happy morning to all. With great respect, I am here to share the knowledge and experience coupled with research on the topic contemporary innovative pedagogical practices. I was there in the yesterday's session of Dr. Ankit Saxena, because I myself, we are teachers, we keep learning every day. So I was also curious to learn because he was talking on incorporating ICT in teaching. So that was very interesting session, and we have more sessions lined up in the coming days. And I really appreciate the organizers for choosing such relevant and appropriate topic, which would help the faculty fraternity to understand the nitty-gritties of the current practices. With this note, I would like to share my screen. So starting with what to start, actually, like we call it beginning with end in the mind. Being teachers, we should understand what is the purpose of education, because all of us are teachers and we have been teaching from quite many number of years, and the entire faculty team who are present here as audience and from the Kristu Jayanti. Because by passion, somebody becomes teacher, and out of no choice, somebody becomes a teacher. And that makes a big difference in whatever technique or teaching practice we use, that makes a lot of difference. So this actually drives us towards the end in mind, that is for the betterment of the student. So it is weapon in our hand, like how we use it. So pedagogy is the way of teaching and which triggers the creative thinking in the learners, and which is already bringing out what is already there in the student. And as is rightly said, I was talking to one sculptor from Iceland. So she was telling me, how do you identify, like how from each of the marble or the stone which you are carving an idol, how do you visualize, or how do you see the which one to develop out of that marble? So she was very interestingly telling me, and which I was not aware of it. She says that the idol or whatever you want to make, it is already there in the stone, it is already there in that marble. It is only that the external extras which are there is just we are chiseling out. God has already kept a figure, a form inside it, and we are just removing the extras. So teachers are like that. Whatever is the innate potential in the students, we are just bringing out of it. And we have that only weapon in our hand, that is the education. With this note, I would like you to take you through the flow of today's presentation, which I have categorized broadly into three categories. One is to understand why we are actually looking at innovating teaching practices, and what are those different methods which are currently in practice, especially COVID and post-COVID, picking up on so many high impact teaching practices. And the second half of the presentation would be on not necessary that we are innovating something. We can always upskill the existing teaching methods which are there, which can be tweaked, which can be little enhanced, so that we can create that X factor in what we have been teaching currently. And the last part of it is about how do you actually determine the effectiveness of any method, what factors, and ultimately all education is again going back to society. So what impact is all these methods, what we are going to learn, is going to affect the ecosystem as such. So moving on to the first one, I wanted to have little interaction with the audience also to develop the rapport and probably continue the session and make it more interesting. So why actually we are looking at innovative pedagogical practices? Are we not happy with the existing? What would be the probable reason? What comes to your mind? Why we are talking about this topic? If you can type in the chat box, I can see the questions.
Chalk and duster we are using from last so many years, and it will be monotonous for the student. Going through the same way, same practices.
Okay, they are monotonous.
Yes.
Traditional conventional methods are monotonous. Very nice. Any other answers?
Yes, happy day. This is Vijay Lakshmi.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, I feel that today's generation is more to do with technology. So, and especially after COVID, things have completely changed, where we teachers are also used to online classes, and that actually reaches to the students better. So in that, what is that we could do by using a mini meter in class when it comes to giving assignments to students? So that way, I think we need to equip ourselves to the meeting the needs of the next generation, coming generation.
Okay, very nice. Very nice. So do we have any other answers for this? Any other reflections?
Yeah, ma'am, Nisha ma'am has answered as the present generations have unique traits and learning styles.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate the responses.
Maya ma'am has also answered as to make the sessions more interactive.
Okay, great. So we are all in the right mindset now to accept or to move ahead for what we are going to discuss today. I'm sure, see, whatever little I'm presenting here, it's just that I got an opportunity to share this. It's not that the faculty are not aware of this or something. That is where I say it is just sharing of knowledge, which we learn from each other. So we are all open for that, right, as teachers. So then only we can help the learners to learn. So with that note, I would start. So this Bloom's taxonomy, I will just mention here, because any innovative pedagogical tools without this as a base will not stand. But we have a separate session on this, so I will not discuss this in detail. But if I am not mentioning, I will be failing my duties. So any innovative practice which we are looking at actually have to go through this process, which we call the educational objectives. So any teaching practice we are framing, we have to keep this order of students, how they understand, starting with how they remember to understand and how they are able to apply, and how they are able to analyze, evaluate, and finally create. So if we look at the conventional methods of teaching, much of them, like how I have been taught in my college and school times, it was more of remembering, and some amount is, okay, we understood, and that feedback was not much taken by the teacher, and applying that scope was also very less. And the next stages of analyzing, evaluate, and create, the teachers were not much bothered also. So, but over the years, there is a lot of transition in the requirement of the learners to the, and what they expect from a teacher, that has been evolving a lot. So whatever methods we are been following, from conventional to the present methods, all the methods need to understand that when we innovate something as teachers, are we standing in this hierarchy of helping our students to remember something, retain some information? Are they able to understand? Are they able to apply? And whenever you give an assignment, that is where they started applying what you have taught them in the classroom. And if you are given a problem, they are able to analyze that, evaluate it, and probably create something new. Yeah, so this Bloom's taxonomy is a kind of very base and foundation for all of the teachers to understand, like, whatever small method we are using in the class, are we keeping this in our mind? So just a projection of this will help us to understand the significance of this. So moving on to the continuation of the same thing, as rightly pointed out by the faculty members, like, we are dealing with a different set of students in the class, Gen Z, who are born and who are currently in their 20s, who are sitting in our classroom, and who are very enthusiastic, who are highly digitized, and their attention span is very, very less. And as you mentioned, it is like monotony. Whatever old methods we were taught by our teachers, that no more interest for them. And they are almost, most of the time, they are hands-on with so much information on the mobiles and the laptops on a click. And especially with the commerce and management, there is much more beyond the syllabus, which has to be brought to the classroom, which has to be brought to the students. So we have to use some techniques, some practices, which is actually meeting this need. So either you use a combination of the practices, or you use one practice for one delivery of one topic. That is up to the teacher, but huge information is surely available. So if you are ignoring anything, that comes back in a form of a question, or if you are using it to enhance the knowledge, how best you can use. And hardly the amount of time, 45 minutes to 1 hour, I think normally we have for the classes. So in that 45 minutes to 1 hour, how much we are keeping the students engaged is a big question. How much time they are switched on, how much time they are mentally present is a big challenge for all of us. So looking at all these points, like one of you said that learning styles are different. So this is one psychological perspective which has become very popular, to understand that your class has different students with different learning styles. I'll be touching upon that topic in detail also, but to just give a glimpse of it, you have students who understand things, who learn things by seeing, and who listen and learn, we call auditory, visuals, and some who learn by doing some activity. So you have all these students in your class, 30 to 60 students who are sitting in our class, has different kind of learning styles. So to equip the learner with the required skills, you need to innovate, you need to have some different method to catch up to the requirement. And especially in past, teacher is a kind of used to be boss in the class, where students has to oblige and they have no other option. Now the teacher role has been shifted from teacher to facilitator, where you are helping the learner to learn. You are no more here to boss over, you are no more here to dictate the terms, or you are no more to say that I know everything, because there is information available with them, which they prepare and come. And some of the curious students, they come to class only to ask questions, to check the knowledge of the teacher. So all these kinds of students are existing in our class. So why innovation practices? I have tried to put up a couple of the reflections which came to me. And very interestingly, there is a research paper which has been done on understanding. We all know the Maslow need hierarchy theory, which talks with the physiological needs, which talks about your food, water, shelter, etc., which is very basic for the human being to get motivated. In the organizational context, we see that how employees get motivated and how a manager can motivate them to the next level if they know the needs. So similarly, if you understand the needs of the current generation who are sitting in our class, and some of them have entered as teachers also into the classroom. So it is all the more interesting to understand that. So if you look at the physiological needs, so especially these are digital needs. So if you look at them, it is like whether my mobile is completely charged, do I have Wi-Fi, do I have data required for me to browse the information, do I have a laptop to do my projects, is my phone catching up with the upcoming networks or 5G network, which is upcoming now. And so do I have enough signal wherever I go to reach out to my classmates or my teacher? So the safety needs are more about looking at how safe is my information, or when you are moving out of the house, how are you tracked by your family, or how safe you are reaching, etc. And how are your mailboxes or information safe for you? And coming to the belonging needs, they are more into Facebook's continuously updating their photos of their visit to a trip to so-and-so place, or had a birthday party, they update it. So they are very much to see whether how many have liked my post, or how many are seeing my post, appreciating me. These are all the belonging needs for them. And in WhatsApp, what kind of messages are circulated and how many are viewing my messages and appreciating me and everything. So esteem needs are those where they are more into extending, like Instagram, and going to the self-actualization. It is more about LinkedIn, how many connections I have, how many new connections have come to me. That this kind of evolution is happening in the minds in terms of the digital needs. So when as a teachers, we need to understand this, and there is very less option that we ignore it. Because as teachers, we are also in the process of getting adapted to all these things, maybe not in the pace with which students are doing, but still we are also in the same pace. We want to develop our research, we put it on LinkedIn and expect a feedback or develop a network. We also do it. But we are talking about the current generation and how the needs evolve here. Okay, so there are various methods. So if I try to pool them into different categories, as I said, all this is based upon the research and trying to analyze the information with the knowledge which I had from my teaching and research experience and the publications from the teaching fraternity on the learning techniques I have taken. So if you look at learning by listening and seeing, there are various methods which you call lecture method or your case study method, etc. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. That your slide, only first slide is visible, ma'am.
Oh, is it, ma'am? Should I exit and then again share?
No, just next slide, if you will go, it will be visible. First slide only, it is visible, ma'am.
No, actually, I have moved to the almost 4th or 5th slide, actually.
That is only I was waiting, but I thought it was not come. Yes, stops here once again. Yes, yeah. Stops here once again. If you will share, it will be visible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'll again share.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible, madam, for you? I've changed the slide.
Yes. No, ma'am. Only first one is visible.
Okay. I think some technical error.
It's not highlighted. Third, now it's highlighted, ma'am. Yes.
Shall I use this same? No. I am putting in projector mode, then it is not visible.
Now it's visible, ma'am. Education, that purpose of education, now that slide is visible.
Okay, fine. So shall I use in this mode? Because when I go to projector mode, it is not visible.
Maybe. Yes, ma'am.
Shall I use like this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, then I missed, I think you missed all these slides, seeing these slides then.
Okay. No, it's okay, ma'am. That to be like looking, I was thinking maybe introductory, but Bloom's taxonomy figure I can see. So that's why in between I interrupt you.
Fine. So A couple of methods which, before moving to the actual methods which are contemporary, I try to list down some methods based upon the research. So here, some of the methods which are learning by listening and seeing, like lecture method and case study. Learning by doing methods, experiential role play or project-based problem solving, gamification, self-learning. I'll explain to you one by one also the contemporary methods, just to try to jot down here to briefly tell you what methods are here. And other category, learning with others, you have more collaborative learning, team-based learning, peer learning, etc. Learning from others, when you work in the service projects or when you get into community engagement activities, it is not only about learning. Learning happens when you are working with others. That is why I asked, learning for others is more to do with service, where you are helping others in the process. You learn and they develop also, community engagement. And for all this to happen, technology as a tool. All the technology what we have been using from the past to present, say suppose like a washing machine, washing clothes, it is made easy for us. So you want to store the vegetables for long run, refrigerator, that is a technology which we are using. So if you look at a PPT presentation, that is a tool which is available for us, or in any method which is helping you to reach out to your students effectively, which is making your job easy, which is making your job effective. It is not only easy, but it is also effective. So all these techniques and all, I think it will be covered in detail of ICT tools and what are those techniques. But I'll touch upon the methods only which can be highlighted here. So coming to what methods are contemporary, and especially that is, I was asking Nagadeepa ma'am that the target audience, if it is commerce and management, we have different set of methods which can be used. And if it is science, it is a different method. If it is law, different method. So I am sticking to the methods which are more popularly used in commerce and management here. So in this lecture method, we need not think that it is an outdated method. It is only that how you are delivering it, what kind of content you are using it, what examples, real-time examples you are giving it, and how you are able to convey the topic to the student, then it becomes high impact. Otherwise, lecture method seems to be very monotonous, very boring, and students sleep off. But it again depends upon adding that extra element or X factor into your teaching, and then how you are delivering it. As I said, the 50 minutes or 1 hour of the class, if you are delivering lecture for 20 minutes and then adding on a video on that topic and displaying to the students and have a discussion session, which in a compact way becomes your 1 hour class, which has a combination of these techniques. So if you are using lecture completely with examples, fine. Or if you are breaking it into pieces to explain, well and good. It is again the prerogative of the teacher, how they use it. So case studies, this is the best thing which is possible to deliver the management concepts. And right now, the availability of case studies are ample with the updated information, and beautifully the concepts can be explained. For example, the concept of selection and recruitment, which I take HR papers for the students. So how do you want, what is the importance of hiring the right people into the organization? So this case study was, according to me, you might have more examples. I gave this example of 24/11 attacks in Mumbai. And when this case study was studied in Harvard by an expert to understand how the employees of the organization stood for the customers, keeping their life in threat and could save so many people. So when it was tracked back, actually the process started, the kind of quality of people they are recruiting. So they were recruiting the people with values. They were more prioritizing the people from rural area who emphasize more on people, who respect people, and who does and stand for their customers. So if you talk tracking, it is not only about telling about what is recruitment, what is selection, what methods you do it. There is also an element of understanding its significance in the organization development. And when you track these case studies, they are beautifully explained and videos are present on all these things. So if you are able to pitch in those examples with real time scenarios and put up a case study, either you explain a case study and run a video, parallelly discuss with it, that is going to be having high impact. And trust me, they will remember this case study for the lifetime, and they will also apply. When I say all these educational objectives will automatically come into picture of whether they are able to use it, whether they are able to create a new solution out of the existing problems which they might face in the organization. To that extent, we have to think. Project-based learning, of course, all students have a project to do apart from their major projects. Every semester, it is a interest of the colleges to create a small mini projects, giving them a specific topic, go do a research and come back and submit your analysis or give a presentation. And especially now, the entire world is talking about sustainability. There are goals, UN goals, which are defined, which are 17 sustainable development goals, starting from poverty to climate change to smart cities. So if we engage the students in the form of giving a project to understand and go and study in the nearby locality on any of these topics, that also connects them with the nearby community, their issues. And probably we undermine the students, they might have a better solution, they might come up with some innovative things which can go back in the form of proposing a solution to the policy makers. So this is where conferences and a lot of deliberations in seminars I have been hearing, and recently IIM Lucknow, they had a conference on sustainability. So why? Because the entire universe is under threat because of various reasons. So if as human beings, we are not addressing it, and as students, if they are not addressing it, because they are going to be the future. So bringing all these issues in the form of project to the students, which involves them in that project, in the process they learn. Of course, project guide or the teacher will play a major role, because we are the people who tell them, give a direction, how to set the objectives, how to make a report, what kind of elements you actually have to put in recommendations, or how to propose a model. That is where we help them. So these are some of very significant methods which are being very popularly used and has been using also. So what next is collaborative learning. So students together, they sit and learn. You call it a group study, or you call it take up a topic and one will prepare, the next will deliver, third will present, something like that, which they can share and always learn. And I'm going to explain each one of this in slide by slide also, just a briefing here. Peer learning is a form of collaborative learning, but not the same. Blended learning also is a learning wherein you use both online and offline. And in the class also, in the same class, as I said, you are using lecture, you are using video, and you are also having a group discussion or role. So if you are mixing more than one learning here, then we call it blended learning. Self-learning, this is what many of these online MOOCs courses, all these come under self-learning. So students are catching up with the requirements of the industry and with the requirements of job market. They also understand that what is taught in the classroom, in the syllabus, in the examination, and the certificate is not enough alone. They need to acquire a different skill set, which is matching with the requirement of the industry in the form of doing certification courses, upskilling themselves. So vast amount of courses are developed over the period of time, and especially during the COVID. I hope all of us also have gone through this journey of doing certifications in the process. So VAK, which means visual, auditory, kinesthetic, I'll throw some light on this method of teaching also. And very prominent and sorry, anything?
Slide that only that one I can see, contemporary and high impact method of teaching.
Yes, I am yet to move. So the gamification is one popular method, because students are so much well versed with games, video games, playing all the time. So why can't we use that method to inculcate the subject? So what is collaborative learning? See, everywhere teacher as a facilitator plays a major role. Nothing is like you give it to the students and they will only take up, they will only follow, they are accountable. It is always the teacher who monitors, who mentors, who tracks whether the learning is going the right direction, are they deviating from any of this, etc. Peer learning is something which is very interesting, because there are some concepts as a teacher we teach. We think from the teacher perspective, student will understand, but there is a possibility that from students, they learn better, which means the pace or the chemistry with which one student teaches to other, that is different from the instructor or from the teacher to the learner. So when you look at this point or this perspective, there are various techniques in which the teacher can assign a task, monitor in the classroom, and give inputs to the students, and also say that these are the value added components in what topic is being given. Yeah, especially for the difficult concepts. It's subjects like operations research, subject like financial modeling, which are hands-on practices which has to be made. A process like teaching an Excel, because Excel is one such beautiful tool which actually caters to much of the requirement. So if they sit together, students as a peer, and then learn, that has a different impact altogether. So this is one method. And this blended learning and flipped classroom is very popularly used. And the basic instruction for all these methods is that it is not to just the teacher to let go their job. It is not to just shed away their responsibilities and say it is your responsibility. Students are responsible. I know I am here just to sign or the projects, or just to say that it is done, just to say that it's completed the syllabus. It's not that way. The whole responsibility is with the teacher, whether they are online, offline, or whether they are giving the material, monitoring the students, all the responsibility lies with the teacher. So the basic difference between the traditional and the flipped classroom method is this, that in the regular lecture method, just to show the difference, I put up this. The lecture is given and the teacher gives some assignments or tasks, take home tasks, which they complete and submit and come back to the next class. Whereas in the flipped classroom, the material is shared with the student, which he or she will come prepared. And in the class, the teacher conducts an activity to understand the learning. And if any doubts come up or any discussions where a direction is required, the teacher is going to moderate, which is basically a kind of facilitator role here. So, but the main catch here is that the student have to become preparing for the class. Otherwise, this method might not be effective. That responsibility equally lies with the student of preparing with the material or the notes or the information in any form shared by the teacher. They have to be prepared to the class. So this is one method where partly the student studies at home and comes. That is why it is called blended learning. So the other popular method is gamification. So this, I think all of us would have heard of it, but we need some kind of efficiency also to use it in our classes, and depending on the subjects. If you are able to see the gamification technique, then it is very, very interesting for the students, for the reason that they get some points when they learn something. Like, for example, if you take up HR appraisal process. So in the appraisal process, what kind of questions you are going to ask as a manager? If you are going to conduct an appraisal process, what kind of questions you will put up? How do you conduct the appraisal? So once you post your questions, then you get some points. And as a team, if you are doing this activity, what does the leaderboard show for you? What is your score? And once you progress to the next level, you will be able to get some badges, first badge, second badge, or third badge, which means you are leading in that process. How many badges you are getting, which means how much of rewards you are getting. So there are some surprises, some perks which are available, which will channelize the enthusiasm of the students. And there will be some quiz to test the knowledge on what you have been doing. yeah, which promotes the brainstorming and also builds confidence in students. And with this, when they are using, their information becomes knowledge, and they'll be more curious to understand, which encourages collaboration. And in the process of information sharing, they also learn how to solve the problems and also develop patience to handle the situation also. So as they are playing the games, they also play various roles. They also face various challenges. It can be a business game. It can be a finance concept which is taught in this form, or it can be an accounts concept which is taught by using gamification, or a marketing concept or a supply chain, whichever teacher wants to use. But the disclaimer here is the teacher has to be well versed of creating their own platform like this, or using the existing games which are available. It's not always online. We have game boards now which are available, which are handy, which can be purchased, also can be used. Yeah, so this is one technique. As I said, the disclaimer here is that one method does not suit for all subjects, and one pedagogical practice might not fit all for all the teachers, because everybody's style is different. And one teaching practice might not suit for all the subjects in all courses also. So every place there is a difference. There is clearly a different direction which a teacher can take for each one of their topics, their subjects which they are dealing. So what might be popular for me might not be popular for my colleague. Okay, so one teaching practice might not suit for all the topics in the same subject. Yeah, so if I have 5 units or 5 modules in my subject, module 1, I would take up one technique or which I want to use. Second, I will use a different method. So it is all depending upon what content I am delivering also. So it is wholly the responsibility of the teacher to match what topic they are delivering to their audience, to ensuring the effectiveness of using that method. So one size does not fit for all. So these were a couple of methods which I have to draft, and very importantly, I want to highlight on the concept called paradigm shift. As I said, the second half of the presentation which we have come talks about, it's not about talking about innovation all the time. It's not about creating new things and saying that I use these many methods. I use 10 methods in my teaching delivery. It is very effective, etc., etc. It is also about use 3 methods, but put life into it. Put that X factor into it. Put that human elements into what you have been teaching. This is what is the second half of the presentation, which I am going to focus, which we call paradigm shift. This paradigm shift was beautifully explained and very much inspired by the 7 habits of highly effective people, Stephen Covey says. It's not about the emptiness which you see in the life. It's about what you have in your life. It is about the perception, what matters. So if you want to bring small changes in your life, work on your behavior. But if you want to make big change or quantum leap changes, work on your paradigms, work on your way you think. Change the way you think, that will bring big changes to see in the world. So many times we see that we don't hold the right perceptions towards the students. We carry so many illusions. We judge the students. We label them. So and so is good. So and so is bad. So and so learns very fast. So and so is hopeless. So and so student is pathetic. We label all the students, but it is time to stop for a moment and think and see that should we change our perception. Yeah. So let us revisit the existing methods of teaching. This is my main focus. Of course, the topic is innovative teaching practices. We have to learn, adapt, but we also need to look into and revisit those practices which are already existing, how we can upskill them. So what has been the earlier method from teacher-centric? Now we are talking about learner-centric. This paradigm shift we have to make from one-way flow of communication to more interaction and two-way flow of communication. From resourceful, there was very less availability of material or information or study material available for the students, to the lot of is available which teacher can provide. Because students are lost with much information on the Google. See, whatever assignment we give, simply they type it. They don't copy paste. They don't even type, sorry, they copy paste it. So whatever comes, there is volumes of information and they are lost, which is validated, which is correct, which is appropriate, which I can use. And possibility is the same information, everybody will browse and every assignment will have same thing. So we have to teach the students how to take the information which is relevant for you, which is appropriate for you. There is no doubt they can always refer the internet. We should encourage it because there are more, at least they remember some amount of facts out of a lot of reading. But what is important is they have to analyze, read, understand, analyze, and then present their analysis. This is what we expect in the assignment ideally. Otherwise, we just get a copy-pasted assignments and because they are lost in so much of information. So non-resourceful to resourceful, what I meant is teacher knows that what information is exactly relevant out of so much knowledge available over the internet or textbooks or journals. So non-activity based to activity based. The one perception of many teachers is we don't have time to conduct the activity, or we have to complete our portions and only some students are interested, etc. But trust me, this is one very important activity where actually students learn better. You might have to spend 15-20 minutes in your class after teaching your concept, but still it is worth it. Non-interactive to interactive, there was no dialogue. It is only like teacher go on and on and on. And very importantly, especially in the management subjects, I can say this, that subjects are taught in silos. If I am teaching HRM, I only talk about the concepts of HRM, where I'm disconnected with the remaining streams like finance or marketing. One reason I don't know about the subject. Second reason, I don't know how to connect it with the other subjects. Same thing if I'm teaching marketing. So I limit myself to what is the topic and I set boundaries to it and a scope to it. But what about the student? At one semester, he is learning 6-7 papers. One is marketing, one is HRM. Is he not supposed to understand that management as such is a discipline? It is not that HRM separately he is learning. He is learning marketing and finance separately or accounts separately. Can't we integrate and make that understanding for the student that it is all one business or one management that uses all these functions? It is not separate. And unfortunately, many teachers don't put their thinking into this. So when you're able to integrate, that will make a big difference for your student. You're able to show him the bigger picture of where do they fit in HRM, where do they fit in marketing, where do they fit in finance, where do they fit in accounts, where do they fit in supply chain. All these they can understand more easily than teaching them in silos, each one of these functions. Yeah, in the past, not much technology was in use to the current trend where we are using more of technology in teaching. And from selfish to selfless. Teachers at some point, we are lost in our own workload or in our own responsibilities of delivering the work. And at the end of it, we are actually not able to reach out to the students selflessly to convey or to have that passion of being there with the student when they need us. That is why I call this selfless. Teacher's job is supposed to be selfless. If you track our the ancient methodology of teaching Gurukul, nowadays many teachers say, if you get my water bottle, it is there in my room, or you pack food when you are coming on the way, you pack food for me. Or if student is staying close by, you ask them to get some things for you, which is very, very simple and you don't feel it is a big thing. But actually it is a big thing. It conveys a lot of message to the students. It was actually done in Gurukula system where teacher was not taking a single rupee from the student. The Gurukula system was like that. They used to be treated like children in their family. They used to feed them. And children, in spite of being the children of Raja and Maharajas, they used to clean the floor of the Gurukul, wash the clothes of the Guru Mata and everybody. That was all part of their education, where they used to do it in exchange of what they are getting from the Guru. But what about us today? Why we have to take help from the students? Put them into activities because it is learning process. Let them do it. Let them connect the computer because it is part of their learning. But personal work of the teachers, that is strictly, I think that really we should think about it. That is why I say, teachers, let us be selfless and look at our profession with high respect. So this part where I'm talking about upskilling the existing methods, I will touch upon a personal touch with each and every student in the class. How many of us really know our student? And if I say, how many of us know the names of our students? I know it is hard. You have 30, 40, 50, 60 students maximum in the class. But we have a semester with us. Maybe first, when we are exposed to one particular class, you will take some 10, 15 days or a maximum of 1 month to know their names. And we know their names when we call out their names in attendance. Otherwise, we will not know. A red shirt, a purple shirt. Like that, if we call, how do we feel you, if we can understand? If our principal or dean or management calls that, no, a blue sari or yellow sari, how do we feel? And when we do the same thing to our students, how do they feel? So this I tell my faculty also, please memorize. Let us treat our students with respect. What we expect others to give us, we should give it to others, right? So that is a basic human need. So calling the student with the names, it might be a small thing for a teacher, but it creates a great impact in your class. And especially being unbiased with the students. Knowing or unknowingly, our human tendency is, so-and-so is from my place. So you keep on calling that student for a regular work. So the entire class will get a message that, okay, this madam is little closer to that student because they are from the same place. So this kind of small signals, that actually gives different message to the students in the class. And many of us, maybe we are busy, we are walking, we don't respond to the greeting of the students. Why I'm highlighting these small little things is, innovative pedagogical practices, correct, I understand, we should know it. But are we talking about the foundation, or are we talking about that human element, what comes across all the methods? That is why I've put up this slide. I'm not sure how I'm able to reach out to the audience, but with my heavy heart, I'm talking this because I've 15, 16 years I've been teaching. And there are various levels of, showing discrimination to students, to, not respecting the students, to making them wait for long hours because we are teachers and they wait at the door. And anytime we'll call, they will come. What a big deal. Are we not supposed to value their time? Yes or no? If our time is valuable, their time is valuable too. So my one message from this slide is that human dignity is very important. Doesn't matter he is your student or he's different socioeconomic status or religion, doesn't matter. They have come for the whole purpose of getting education from you. That's it. That should be our motto. So that personal touch with the students, if the teacher is able to develop, whatever technique, innovative or not, doesn't matter. It will reach out to the student. Trust me, it will reach out. It needs time, it needs effort, but that is worth it. This, I strongly believe that we are giving a lot of information and knowledge to the students, which is too much available for them. But is it really helping them for their life? Is it really helping them to become a better person each day? This is where the values are very, very important to be taught. Whatever subject we are delivering doesn't matter. It is commerce or management, doesn't matter. Values, I am telling partially it can be taught in some subjects, but values have to be practiced by the teachers who is delivering it. If I say the value time management is very important, and if I don't follow it in my class, if I myself come late, then what kind of message I am giving? So values in practice is very, very important. And if you are able to convey a small value-based story when you greet the students and enter the class, give a small story, give a small information or inspiration story to them, or state a quote and it will elaborate on how it impacted your life, connecting with their life. That actually sets the stage for your entire class. Yeah, as I said, if you are able to merge your values with subject, nothing like that. I can relate mostly to the management subjects, which can easily be linked to. If I talk to HRM, it is closely related because HRM is about people, human resources. Any process you take from recruitment selection to training to compensation to employee welfare, everywhere there is a human touch there. Ethics, a beautiful paper of work values and ethics and business ethics and corporate governance, all this has been coming. And thanks to the national education policy who has brought in the human values as specific subject for some streams like engineering. Because we are creating engineers, but there is without values. That is where some of them are ending up as terrorists, where they have potential of developing the country. So values are very, very important, which has to be intertwined with your subject. I don't even say that you have to have a separate subject on it, but we need to build it along with your subject, whatever we are delivering. Yeah, and real life examples are very, very important. If you prepare, say, suppose 10 or 15 of such stories, which you can deliver and give it a 5 minutes or a 2 minutes or a 3 minutes, how much ever time you could spend. And many students in the class require that personal counseling. And when you see a student is continuously absent, we normally don't spend time in understanding going a step ahead and thinking, actually, what is the problem? We just see the physical presence of students and try to, judge the student is present, absent, for what reason, we don't even interrogate. This is where mentoring each of the student is very, very important. Depending on the availability of the faculty in the department and the number of students available, because for a class advisor or a class teacher, it would be a large number of students. So you can break it as, say, 5 to 10 students per teacher, where they can look into the personal issues and counsel them also. Because students, as we say, teacher, when they enter the class, they bring their background, their botherations in the morning. Yeah, fought with the husband, it comes to the classroom. So got some scoldings from higher up, comes to the class, because we cannot separate it. Same thing applies for student also. When he is sitting in your class, maybe he is undergone a severe separation of father and mother, and he is coming and sitting in your class. And we are expecting him to deliver the best, where nothing is going into his mind. These are all small little things which we require to attend. And especially that is where mentoring takes a major role here. So any method you use, if you're not addressing these small, simple, subtle issues, that method might not be effective. It can be effective only 50% or 40% or 60%. Yeah. So being empathetic is very, very important. Understanding students, going into their level to understand what we can do. And there is one model which I'll show you of an education model which is very effective and proven to be effective and popular in the world also. So moving on, very important thing is that we fail to understand the study skills of the students. Many of them have good knowledge, but they don't know how to present their answer. Many of them have very bad handwriting. A very good student with average handwriting will always get an average marks, because he get less marks because his handwriting is very bad, pathetic. A very good handwriting, an average student will always get good marks. So if you are able to notice these small little things, There are instances where I have given copywriting book to my students, MBA students I am talking. It's not about primary school or high school. I'm talking about the MBA student. The student was very good. He's an 80-90% student and very interactive in the class. But if you look at the book, it is like you cannot even understand anything from there. So I told, get a copywriting book. As you know, students, they don't bring. So I only handed over one book. Write 2 pages every day and show it to me. I cannot say that I have improved 100% of his handwriting, but at least that bad handwriting to average handwriting he has come. Yeah. So these some of the things which the class teacher or mentor actually can address this, and especially preparation for the examinations. They need somebody to guide because they have poor study habits. I'm seeing this across the class that their study habits has been very poor, which was not noticed, which was not addressed by anybody. We are just dumping a lot of material on their head or content to them and forcing them to do this activity, that activity. But actually, how are they planning for their exams? How are they preparing their notes? These things are very, very important to attend. It requires time, but still it is worth it spending on it. As I mentioned in the initial slide that there are different kind of learners in our class, visual, auditory, and we have students who read and write, then they learn, or we have students who learn by doing. So how do we cater? We think, no, as a student, as a teacher, I have 60 students in the class. So how do I cater to all the requirement? Imagine in my class, there are 20% visuals and 20% auditory, read and write 40%, and the remaining are kinesthetic. That is where you have to have a combination of all these techniques when you are using. We cannot separate them. 20 we cannot separate and give one, and 20 we cannot separate, give auditory, only give lectures to them. That is where you use all these, whatever you are delivering, use a combination of it. Some of it use PPT, some of it you talk, some of it you ask them to write, answer something which you are talking in the class, and do some activity. It can be a role play, or it can be which the participation in discussion, or modeling, something which they can do and come out and do. That is where you can actually cater to the different learnings and needs of your students. We blindly think that everybody are same, which is not so. So this, if teacher keeps in mind, and when they are preparing for the class, they probably address all these different learning styles. Then only we can reach out to all the students in the class. Very rarely you have same kind of students. Very rarely, I can say. It is always this combination. So this one model which I want to share, which is very popular, and of course, which I have come across in my research. I will not say it is the only one, but one of it which I have come across in my journey is if you are able to balance values with your education. So how do you teach values? It is through spiritual training. It is through experiential learning, making them appreciate the festivals, what they are going to celebrate, to doing service to the nearby community. That builds the character of the student. Because the end of the education is character building, which is inevitably all of us has to accept. So if that is balanced, your character balanced with your academics, we are just focusing on the academic load of what classes, what information, what subjects, what projects, etc. But if we are able to focus on giving these values in the education, we cannot have a separate curriculum, because this institute, they have a separate curriculum on human values. If you are not able to do it, because we're all attached to some university of delivering our course, so we can actually give examples or inbuild some elements into your regular teaching. Yeah, that will actually help the student to become a better person. Apart from getting loaded with the content, they also have an input on character. So this particular institute, they focus on character and academics, balance them nicely. And they also build values and with competence and attitude. And so ultimately, the student is going into society, who has to survive, who has to deliver, who is responsible for society. It is not that they compromise on the academics. It is the best of the best applications to the knowledge delivered, and the intellectual capital accumulated is tremendous. And the entire education system, it is run for free. There is no money involved here. So if we always think, that whatever we are framing, classes, is that, and everything is connected with
Hello.
money ultimately. So this,
Ma'am, your volume is low now.
yeah, can you hear?
No, ma'am.
Can you hear now? Can you hear me? Can you hear now?
It's still low, ma'am.
Still low? I'll remove my earphones. Now? Now is it audible?
Now it's low. Before, just 2 minutes before, it was fine.
Okay, because I have not changed. I'll just move a little closer, maybe. Is it audible now?
Not.
Yeah, I'll come a little closer because I didn't change any settings. I don't want to touch it now so that I get disturbed. The last part of few components which I want to touch upon is the myths of the teachers. So what normally we think is we carry some perceptions, as I said, when we carry to the class, that I know everything, teacher ego, what we call. When we go to the class and we say that, okay, I am learned and I have come here to deliver, and you are the people who don't know anything about it. So this is a wrong perception, because students also does a lot of homework when they are coming. It's not all, but some of them at least do their homework and come. They do know what topic you are going to deliver, unless and until it is a guest lecture, and that also we reveal a topic. But for a regular subject teacher, they already know what topic is going to be delivered, because syllabus is already there with them. So imagine that student is coming prepared and we are going with the mindset, it might not match. So we also kind of, as I said, from teacher to facilitator, we are also learning in the process. And learning, I know my class. This might not be possible unless you address your learning needs and you are going prepared with visuals, auditory, kinesthetic, all your content is framed according. And today I have prepared with this topic, and I have to deliver it at any cost. Whatever techniques, whatever practices I am using, I have to deliver it. This is my target. If somebody asks question in the middle also, I say, so no time, please sit down later. And that later will never come, because we get busy and they get busy. So, and also assumption that all students understand whatever you deliver. There are different level of understanding ability. Some are having learning disabilities, which we never know, which we don't even assess also. There are separate school for the people who are having learning disabilities, who are slow learners. But unfortunately, at some point of time in our education system, we don't have proper checks and balances to know this. We only see the metrics of getting good marks, not getting good marks. But when you track why they are not getting good marks, there is a high proportion that some are having learning disabilities also. So this is another assumption again, and all students are same. There are different diverse students sitting in your class, starting from boys to girls, to different religions, to socioeconomic status, learning styles. There is another diversity, different pace of learning, slow learners, advanced learners. That is also there. So your class has a combination of all this. So whatever practice we are adopting, we have to again think and see whether we are catering to all these requirements. And sometimes we're in a rush, we don't have time to prepare. But still we go and say that, okay, I can go and manage my class. Yeah, so that might not work, and students will easily catch that, okay, teacher has not come prepared, she is just engaging the class today. Yeah. Even that one single class, imagine 1 hour of a class for 60 students counts for 60 hours. And if we are not going prepared, we are really going to damage that 60 hours of their time. Time is time for everybody. So preparation is unparalleled. We have to do it. There is no option for that. And every time when we start the topic, let us start with the recap, little giving introduction of how did we start yesterday, what did we complete, little questions from the students. This is a, I think this is a common practice normally everybody will do. But if you are not doing, then we have to think about it and do it. And summarizing the class at the end, this is very important because it is a kind of nutshell giving what all you have delivered today. This we have learned in case study, this we have done role play, this we have learned in the topic. So end of it, you are giving a task for them. In between questions will keep them alert. There might be chances that only few will answer. Ask the people who are now not been answering your questions, especially the last benchers. So audio visuals usage, like it depends, it is optional we think, but it is mandatory because we have to cater to the learning needs or learning styles of different people, different students in the class. And take home assignments, trust me, daily on a taught topic, immediately give a task so that once they hear in the class, they saw a video, they read the content, and then they give the assignment. So that completes your cycle of learning. So what I do is different from what I teach. In terms of values, I am telling this point. So whatever I'm telling them, be on time, submit your work, and I myself, I am not doing it. Yeah. And I do not have any responsibility towards students. It is teacher, me, my subject, I will deliver. What will happen with student is not my headache. This is also another myth which teachers carry. I get my salary, my job is done. I finished my syllabus. And if he doesn't study student, it is not my botheration. No, it is his responsibility. Why am I bothered? Why am I asked for it? That is again a myth. This brings us to understand what determines the effectiveness of a teaching method. We have gone through different contemporary methods like collaborative learning, peer learning, walk, style, blended learning, etc. And we also have seen the methods which are having added the extra element of upskilling the existing method. Out of all these methods, what determines the effectiveness of teaching is, normally we look at subject results. A teacher teaching effective means I got 100% subject results. Then super, nobody can beat me. I am the best. But might not be. That subject might be easy, or the paper would have come easy. So this is all like a a perception that if everything goes good, I am responsible. If things doesn't go fine, something else is responsible. That kind of attitude. So here, results are obviously one of the parameter or metrics for us to understand. Does student attitude and behavior is changed after my teaching? In terms of, say, he's able to talk about the topic, he's able to give a presentation about it, he's able to share and use the information in the group study. This is one way of knowing whether they have understood or not, whether they are giving it with clarity or not. Especially management subjects, when we are teaching, it is all to practice. But unfortunately, students study only to write the exam. Across 3-4 institutes where I have taught, this question has been constantly posed, and all the students say one constant answer, that they are studying only to write the examinations. None of them knew that they are going to use this education in the job, in the workplace, carry it and use it effectively. Nobody knows it. So it is not about the teaching methods. It is about bringing that attitude that whatever they are learning here, absorb here, assimilate it so that you are able to express it in your workplace. And values, if you are teaching, it is going to be used for the lifetime. It is not about only in the workplace also. So real-time situations, if they are able to use what we are teaching in the classroom, that is one expression. And if they are able to use the knowledge for betterment of society at large, this is the best thing possible which we can give to society. That is where teaching is a responsibility. Teaching profession is a bigger responsibility, where our students are going into community and developing their families, their workplaces, their society, and larger to the nation. So all this practices determines effectiveness only when you are having the Bloom's taxonomy in the mind. So any innovative practice, if it is touching upon the elements of, if the student is able to create a framework or propose suggestions or develop new thinking out of this, That is the best practice possible. And ultimately, education has an impact on the ecosystem where we are living. That is the basic idea. So what impact of new methods on ecosystem is the right attitude of the learner. And if he is able to have a hands-on ability to deliver, and if he is able to think out of the box and propose solutions to the problems in the workplace, in the family, in the society, maybe through his projects, yeah, maybe working in an NGO, which is handling the larger social issues, and team culture, which is one thing very, very important to develop. If you are using collaborative learning, peer learning, or team-based learning, automatically the student develops the habit of working in teams. And this is one very important quality when they go into the organizations. They are put into teams. They have to interact with their colleagues, get the work done. Delivery is more important at the end of the day. So team culture is one such thing students will develop out of this method. And resourceful workforce with knowledge, skill, and right attitude. If we are able to give such product to the society or to the corporate, that is going to be very resourceful for the organization also. Right now, the main problem of India is that we don't have resourceful workforce. We don't have skilled workforce. They are having degrees, they are having education, but they are not ready for job. That is the reason where, of course, we have made good development, but imagine all our workforce are so resourceful where we can reach. So as teachers, somewhere we have this responsibility of making our students resourceful. And the projects, what they are taking, if they're addressing the social issues, that is the best thing possible. The job they are doing, the projects they are undertaking. Now, community projects are part of the education, according to new education policy. So I think slowly it is getting into the grassroots level for implementation. But if this is possible, then it can actually help the students to look into the social issues. If they are in rural area, look at the social entrepreneurship or agriculture, something which they can address easily, farming. Inclusive approach is very, very important. And lastly, the sustainability. All the education, what we are delivering or as a teachers, if we are able to keep it in a long run for the development of nation, for the development of humanity, because over the 40,000 years of research which has gone into the evolution of human being, and out of so many creatures, we are born as human beings, not as any animal or dog or cat or rat or bird, anything we have been born, but we are born as human beings. So this holds us a great responsibility that whatever difference we can make, we can only make in that place and nobody else. So either you talk about innovative practice, it is ultimately narrowing down on you as a person, how you are making difference with that method. So with this note, I come to the close of my presentation and I'm open to questions. I hope we have time for discussion. Over to you, ma'am, organizers. Over to the organizers.
Eva ma'am.
Hi. Any questions, any participants, if you have any doubt, it's open for discussion now. Ma'am, already you have discussed so elaborately all about all the points related to the pedagogical techniques. So I guess participant doesn't have any doubts. So, okay. So now we came to an thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with your wonderful knowledge. The essence of all beautiful arts, all great art is gratitude. Now I request Miss Lydia to propose the vote of thanks.
If you're not grateful for what you already have, what makes you think you would be happy with more? Roy T. Bennett. Good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Kristu College, I deem it to my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on the second session on exploring contemporary and innovating pedagogical practices of 6 days of faculty development program on FDP on usage of innovative pedagogical techniques. I'm delighted to express the deep gratitude to our respected Reverend Father J.C. Thomas, Financial Administrator, Kristu Jayanti College, for all the guidance and moral support. I take this opportunity to extend a heartfelt gratitude to the esteemed speaker of the day, Dr. Bala Koteswari M, Sanksrithi School Principal, Sanksrithi School of Business, Andhra Pradesh. Thank you for guiding your words on exploring contemporary and innovative pedagogical practices, which was very useful to all the teaching fraternity. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank our beloved head of the department, Professor Vijay Kumar R, for his constant support and guidance that radiated a source of energy within us. Thank you, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to Program Coordinator, Dr. R.P. Singh, and other faculty coordinators for organizing committee for the successful conduct of the FDP. I would be failing in my duty if I did not thank the participants of this FDP who have made this day possible. I would also like to thank each and every one of you for being here and making this day a wonderful and memorable one. Thank you all once again. Have a great day. I remain.
Thank you, ma'am. By this, we came to end of the second day of FDP. Once again, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, all of you. I remain.